Welcome to the first and hopefully not the last Proud to be Derby Union's public podcast. So today I'm joined here by
Annie Coca
and Sarah Hassan.
So basically this podcast is supposed to address some of the issues, I guess, around Black history and perhaps make things a bit more clearer for the wider student community and get a lot more input. Hopefully we can get conversations rolling and have hopefully some members of the public join in as well. We'll try and grab a few. So if you do hear me at any point saying come join us, it's not me asking the listeners, it's asking the actual public to come and join along. So I guess we can start off with some cultural significance. So proud to be multicultural. So can we start off with how would you say hello in your language? So if any of you want to go first.
So in Arabic we would say salam alaikum, which actually means it's greeting with peace. So it's almost like peace be upon you. And then the response would be alaikum assalam, which means and upon you too. So we just start off any conversation with a greeting with peace.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not fluent in my language. No, I don't know. What am I supposed to say?
It's anything, I guess. Like, what were you saying before?
I know how to say how are you.
How are you? Yeah, go ahead.
Like Bawani, you just say Bawani sa Bawani ma. And you say Mowa, I'm fine. If you are fine, if you're not.
Well, if you're not, start crying. Okay, perfect. Well, I guess my language, if we're going on about children, so I'm Brazilian, and I don't think I introduced myself properly to the actual podcast. So my name is Omar Marquez. I'm the Vice President of Welfare. So here to sort of support this in any capacity, and mine's a very basic one. It's just Brazilian, so it's just how you say hello, which is hola. Just have a bit of input there. But I guess we'll move on to, what we were talking about earlier, which was the importance of names. So to get the ball rolling, obviously we were talking about how we pronounce certain names and obviously what that means to us and how we've maybe drifted off more into the aspect of, catering more so for the white public, I guess, and sort of, going into more of that. So how do you pronounce your names properly, we can start off with, and what that means to you?
I mean, I guess ever since I was in school, like the second I got into primary school, I always told people my name was Eniola. But really and truly it's pronounced Eniola, but people just couldn't pronounce it properly. There was a whole period of time where people called me Enilola, and that just wasn't it. So I just go by Eni now, really.
But then that's something that you had to sort of adapt to because of the culture that you're sort of brought in the UK at least. And yourself, Sarah?
Since everyone thinks Sarah's like a British name, it really isn't. But it's just pronounced Sarah, so it's just a roll of the R's. And obviously, like Annie mentioned, they also can't pronounce my name. So Sarah is just something easier for them and something I've just stuck with, I guess, because rather than them sort of struggling for 10 minutes trying to get phlegm up to pronounce my name, it's just easier saying Sarah and moving on.
But I guess that comes down to the deeper discussion of is it something that we should be having to, especially with you guys, having to sort of cater for that sort of audience, or is it because it's A, easier for you, B, easier for them, or both?
I think it's an aspect of both, because there's some cases where it's like there are names, like British names or English names that are more less common or just a lot more difficult than the general names that we hear, but we'll still pronounce them right, and you can be sure that those people will correct you if you say it wrong. So it's like, if you can say names like that, then why are we as Black people having to shorten or make our names sound easier just for you guys? Right?
Everyone learned how to say his name.
Loads of other people, I think that's there's so many other names out there that people can say, but simply because they're of Caucasian descent, it's like we have to accept that. And like I mentioned, they will correct you if it's wrong, whereas I think with us, it's just sort of we give up almost immediately. It's like, oh, what's your name? Sarah. They can't pronounce that. Sarah.
We almost assume that they can't pronounce it.
Yeah, definitely.
Now I don't even really give people the chance. So I did when I was in primary school, but working up, when people ask my name, I just say Eniola.
Yeah.
I'm never say Eniola and give them a chance to pronounce it, because I just feel like they won't be able to.
Definitely.
I mean, in any sort of aspect, does it sort of stem from their sort of response as well whenever you're saying your name in a certain, and obviously the proper way, and how the response is from, I guess, other people? Is it, I don't know, whether if the language around it is appropriate when they're saying, oh, that's exotic, type of thing, and that constant, because I know I get it with my name, but it's just, again, it's sort of using that appropriate language around it. So I imagine that happens for you guys a lot as well, if you are having to like sort of say how your name is actually pronounced.
Yeah, I just like to know Annie rolled her eyes when he said, "Oh, that's exotic." I'm gonna add that in there.
Yeah, so, no, but it's true. It happens a lot, and obviously, being that it is Black History Month, it's sort of bringing that sort of attention towards it and how to sort of address it. Because even when it comes down to language, I guess it's people stutter or almost pause before they say the word black, when that is a descriptive feature, and it's just something around, and then it just, whether or not it's something within them that they need to, sort of be more comfortable with, or if it's something that like the university or the union as a whole can support in terms of, this is appropriate language, what isn't appropriate is you say it in such like a aggressive, derogatory way type of way.
Yeah, I think a lot of people sort of, rather than not, it's a case of them not understanding the language and the correct language to use. A lot of the time it is down to education, and I think when it comes to a lot of race issues, it is down to education. I think if people were educated, then they'd be able to like understand things a lot better. So I think even with the case of like of surrounding the word black, even though it's a case of people should educate themselves, like at the end of the day, we're how old now, we like have things accessible to us to be able to educate ourselves, but it would make it easier, for example, places like the uni and the union just sort of put something out and they were like, this is acceptable language. Because if someone came up to me and just asked me, oh, are you black? I wouldn't be offended. I'd be a bit confused that they're just randomly asking me that. But with context, like I wouldn't be offended if they're asking if I'm black, because at the end of the day, that is what I am.
Exactly.
So I think it's a case of educating people and people educating themselves on the correct language, because there's a million resources out there that they can find. They'll be able to learn what's the correct language and what isn't.
And I guess it comes into, with that, obviously, inviting people within these sort of type of discussions and everything. So, I mean, as I just tried to, it was, I don't know if is it comfortability around perhaps both ends of it, talking about race and things like that. Because I know that a lot of Caucasians do feel very uncomfortable talking about race. And then, for example, just a brief example, as I asked a black student to come and have a chat with us and everything, his immediate response was, "Are you black?" And I was like, no, that isn't the point. It's obviously trying to get their input and obviously empower your voices in any sense. But yeah, so I guess it comes down to like sort of how do we make it so that it's somewhat of a more open discussion for students, and whether it's integrating it with other societies, like we've got the debate society, but where do we get the engagement, and if students are going to be comfortable enough to do that?
Even with the debate society, like I went to one of the debates, I think it was the end of my first year, and it was just white students. So I think it's, even if it's a case of the debate in society is a good thing, but I wouldn't feel comfortable going there and speaking about race in a room full of just white people and I'm the only person that isn't white. I think the main reason for that is it's a case of almost you need other people there to back you up in terms of help people who aren't black understand that it's not just you that feels this way and it is the whole community. Because I feel like some people might just brush you off and be like, oh, it's just her that thinks like that, it's not everyone else. So I think it's when you have like a good support system or a good diverse community, that's when those open conversations can be had a lot more comfortably.
It's the ignorance towards it, I guess. It's like looking at it from how they're just like, oh, it's the first time I'm hearing of this. It's because they're not having those like open dialogues with these people that it's obviously affecting. Of course, like you as a Caucasian individual aren't going to be able to sort of know what's going on with outside of your community if you're not integrating yourself, if you're not actually getting out there and having these types of discussions, which is, again, I guess why we're here, and hopefully we can get some people to actually join along. Hopefully. But yeah, I guess it goes on to another point, which I guess is proud to be unique. So this comes into like what it means to be first generation. So I know that any of you are first generation. I myself am first generation, but I guess it comes from a different background in terms of, as a black student, how has that, I guess, impacted your upbringing around being here in the UK?
I mean, I'm not sure, because I know, like, me as a first generation, my parents spoke the language. Like I never had language difficulty growing up. Like I fit right in. It was more just my area when I was growing up was really white. Like we were like the first. There's a lot more black people now in like my town, but when I was growing up, we were like the first to move there. So the school that I went to, I'd be like the only black person in my entire year, and like there would be like 3 in total in my entire school. So it was more like I don't know. It kind of just felt like I didn't fit in. Like there was no one that I could relate to.
Yeah.
Like all of my friends growing up with white people. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just like there was no one I could really talk to about stuff that I was going through about race because I knew that my friends that I had wouldn't understood.
Definitely.
But I guess now, like I used to complain to my dad about it when I got home from school. I'd be like, oh yeah, but they just don't get this or this, and he would be like, hopefully you'll grow up to be like the bridge between the two people. Because now when I go to my black friends, I'm having the same issue where they say I act white because I've grown up in a white society. Like I don't know what that means, but I just don't act the same. So my dad was always like, maybe you could be the person that relates to both, instead of just being on one side or the other.
Definitely. I think there's 2 points I wanted to just pick up on that. Even earlier, like me and you were just having a completely unrelated conversation, and I think this shows how much like integrated into our lives these conversations are. It's not a sort of just in Black History Month we have these conversations and we're actually speaking about our experiences. Like it was just on the off chance that we were speaking, and I was mentioning about how because I also grew up in a tiny village, and it was very it was prominent, just white people basically. In my sixth form there was 10 people who weren't white, so that's like Asian mixed black. And I remember in my middle school, because my friends were also white, I had literally we were speaking about hair to each other, and obviously one big difference, hair. So even hair treatments, our hair care, loads of things. So there was a point where we were speaking about hair, and I was just explaining to them that so part of my hair routine is to add oil to my hair, and they were sort of shocked and were like cooking oil, and I was like, no, not like cooking oil. There's such things as like hair oil, but obviously like for white people, because their hair is different to us, they don't necessarily use the same things as us. Like for example, like I would use oil in my hair for moisture and stuff, but for them it was a massive shock because they'd never used oil in their hair, so they were like thinking this girl uses cooking oil in her hair, and I was like, it's not cooking oil. But to have to just explain that when it's a massive norm for me, it just shows that there is like a big difference for us just in our daily lives. Even though we may attend the same school, have the same experiences, same opportunities, there's always going to be that difference at the beginning, and I think it's that difference which makes us unique, and it's a good thing because it's when you can share those experiences and then bring people together through sharing those experiences is when it becomes a beautiful thing. And then your second thing that I wanted to pick up on, I've forgotten. What did you say at the end?
Me? What did I say at the end?
As in you were speaking about something at the end before I started speaking about the hair.
I can pick it up.
Me being the bridge between two people.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. So it was a case of, I don't necessarily agree with being the bridge because it's sort of a, why do we have to step forward and be the bridge? I feel like it should be a case of both. I think it's when both parties are willing to come together and make it happen, when white people are open to learning about your culture, learning new foods, trying new foods. I think that's when it's great, and I think we have a really good friendship group in terms of people from all over, not just Africa, but people who aren't black, and we really do share our experiences and just enjoy doing that. So I think people were a lot more open to that. We can have a lot more open conversations.
Honestly, I think there's a lot of beauty in culture. I think it's what I sort of, again, because my friendship groups are quite diverse as well, it's what I love and embrace, and I get so involved with it because it's something so beautiful to see from a different sort of point of view, I guess. And it's the same way with when people ask about my culture and things like that. They want to hear it. They want to be like, oh, Brazilian carnaval and all that. And it's like, yeah, it's all this, it's all that. But yeah, and then that's when you start to sort of share within those cultures, and that's when those discussions are easily brought up within in, I guess, when we say Caucasian, I guess what we really mean is like British Caucasian. It's just because there is that lack of culture that it's so ignorant to like the outside of that. But I guess coming off of what you said earlier is when they don't realise the certain differences, or it's like it comes as such a shock. And again, it comes down to that sort of ignorance aspect where they say there's the quote that I usually hear is like, oh, I don't see colour and things like that. And it's just it's not, again, that's not the issue. You want to be seen as an individual. You want them to see your colour, if anything, because then it highlights, the uniqueness, the difference, and the fact that, you are doing these different things. And it is like, it's not everyone lives the same way that they do
100%.
Type of thing. And it's not a world that has been somewhat catered for them, but it needs to be moving past that point and understanding of different cultures, different races, and bringing up that wider discussion.
Definitely, because I think it's a massive shock, because with Arabic being my first language, when I started preschool, because I only spoke Arabic at home, I went into preschool speaking Arabic to everyone, thinking that they would be speaking Arabic back to me, and obviously everyone was looking at me like, this girl's crazy. What? But I was like, why are they looking at me like that? But obviously through that and through like learning English and stuff, and even like now when I literally speak to people and I'm like, yeah, English isn't my first language, they just get massively shocked. And then from the other side, in terms of a culture shock, for example, something as simple as like our daily routine in the morning, stuff that we have to do different, or extra steps that we have to take in hair care or skincare, that they're like, oh, like it comes to a shock for them. So I think it always goes back to educating themselves and having these open conversations, because that's when it's like not awkward.
Yeah.
But I think there's even like differences within the black community, even with like, because there's loads of different hair types. So even with that, I think there's also loads of stigmas and sort of stereotypes for different, like for example, countries in Africa, for different like skin shades and loads of stuff. So once again, it does come back to having those open conversations. But like you said, Owen, I definitely agree. I want people to see that I am black, because it's something I'm proud of. Like, it makes me, not only does it make me different, it makes me unique. And it's like, I feel like I'm so proud to have that within me and know that my roots stem from people of greatness. So it's like, I hate the saying, I don't see colour, because I don't know who that benefits. Like, it only benefits yourself because you're just having an ignorant mindset, because you really just don't want to educate at all. So I think that's the only like person that it benefits from saying I don't see colour. It doesn't really help any situation.
And then that was when it comes into like, I guess, the use of language again, like where they're stuttering to even use the word black, and it's just like, why is that the case? But yeah, so I guess that comes into another factor of obviously how you're saying that you're proud, and I guess it comes around the proud to be. But I guess another thing that we can look at as well, we've actually just had someone quickly join us. If you want to just quickly state your name.
Hi, I'm Anna. I've been pulled here.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, you were the 2019-2020 president for ACS, so African Caribbean Society.
Yeah.
So what we're talking about now is just around proud to be. So that's the whole theme of Black History Month this year, and we're trying to talk about issues around proud to be multicultural, proud to be unique, and the last one, which we're going to touch on, is proud to be an activist. So I'd love to hear again around your guys' sort of points of view around this. So I guess around being an activist, obviously with social media and all the stigma that's been brought up against it, is around Black Lives Matter. So I guess I'll let you guys say your piece and see where that goes from. So go ahead.
Go on, guys. No, go on.
You're the guest. You go first.
I've just come. Let me dig in.
So I guess to start off, we can basically talk about, so I guess the sort of negative stigma that has been brought up around Black Lives Matter, and essentially what that means to you as opposed to what people are seeing on social media and what's being broadcasted.
Yeah, I think automatically as a black woman, if you're sort of speaking up about stuff, you're an angry black woman. Like you're always, and you have something to be angry about. And obviously that also like stems in with the stereotypes and the negative portrayal that the media shows of the Black Lives Matter movement. Because at the end of the day, it's seen as a political movement when it's not really. Like, I don't see how human lives are political.
I don't understand how we went from saying that Black Lives Matter, like we shouldn't be harmed in the way that we are, to being like blue lives matter, all lives matter. Like everyone has a rebuttal when all you're trying to say is that we deserve to live. I don't understand how we got from just being like this innocent statement to now being this like huge political debate. Like it shouldn't have even been a debate in the first place.
I literally heard an example where someone was like, it's like saying when your house is on fire, but my house could be on fire as well. My house
But it's
matters.
not actually on fire.
But right now, our house is on fire. We're the ones getting, black people are talking, like it's the black card again, it's the race card again. It's always that we've got an issue, but no one else is out here getting killed purely off of being black. And it wasn't riots, people were protesting for their lives. No one was talking about, please can we stop getting stereotyped. We're talking about lives here, like 100%. People are dying off of that. So
no, I definitely agree with Anna. It's even the way the media showed it, like Annie mentioned she was shocked about how the rebuttals came. I honestly wasn't. Like I expected it to come. I think it was worse than I expected, but the way the media immediately took it and spun it the way that they wanted it to be viewed was something they've been doing for years.
You can see the comparison when they went into the Capitol. Like it was like, okay, they're protesting because it's a political thing, like it's all right, but then when it's us, it's thugs outside.
That's the media plays a big role in massively, like it plays a big role, especially for example even with Kate and I've forgotten her name, Meghan. Even with Kate and Meghan, but no. Even with Kate and Meghan, the way that the media portrays them and the difference in headlines, like it's so clear and blatant. They're not even trying to hide it.
It's that devil angel thing. And it's always going to be that unless the stigma's broken. Like it's always going to be black women are loud and rowdy, and white women love to the white women, but they're the calm and cool ones. We're the ones with the attitude. Like, do you get what I'm saying? It's always going to be that, and it's within ourselves. It's not just outside as well. And I think that's where it's broken. It's rooted within our culture. It's rooted within everything we do in terms of the lighter you are, the better you are. That's what house slaves were. The lighter skinned ones were allowed in the house, and now it's rooted to this light skinned, dark skinned thing. 100%. It's too deep within us to break out. And I have to go back to work.
Thank you so much for joining us.
But just going off what Anna just said, it's a massive point, and it's very valid because, like, even with Meghan, it surprises me massively because it's like she's quite racially ambiguous. Looking at her, I wouldn't say, oh, she's black immediately. Like, not to take away from her blackness at all. I'm proud. She's one of us. But it's like she's not even that black. Imagine someone my skin color or your skin color going into the royal family, which is something I wouldn't do. Let's start there. But do you know what I mean? It scared me when this happened. It physically put fear in me because it was like, this is how they're treating someone, her skin color. It's obviously going to get worse the darker they are. And it massively, what Anna said about within ourselves, the massive light skin privilege within the black community. Like, if you ask a lot of black boys, what's your type? Light skin, no. Like, do you know what I mean? Even people, okay, in terms of their preferences, right? And I put preferences in quotation marks, literally.
For those I can't see.
But I mean, I know someone, I'm not going to bait them out, I'm not going to say who it is, but who is black, their parents are black, they came from a black mother, they have black sisters, and they're like, no, my type isn't black girls. But how can you write off a whole race like that? It just doesn't make sense to me. You can't tell me that you have seen every single black girl in this world and be like, oh no. Because at the end of the day, if one whole group of people, it's got to be rooted. It's something much deeper that if you don't find a whole race of people attractive. Like it doesn't make sense, and it's hidden behind this, oh, it's just my preference. Like, no, it's not. You're racist. Let's start there. You're either racist or you're colorist. exist. So it's like, it doesn't make sense to me about preferences and stuff. I feel like you can have a preference, so you can say I'm more attracted to, or like this is a trend, but to be like I don't find them attractive and start to bash them is a completely different thing. But that second point is hidden behind preferences.
Do you think that also it obviously extends out into, I guess, more of the Caucasian culture in terms of like, oh, I can never date a black guy, or I can never date a black girl, and how that stigma sort of sticks in? And it's like, I guess it's more so around, obviously you always hear that trope of parents where they're telling their daughters, like, if they ever came back with a black man, you know, they would disown them type of thing, because it's that they're seen as, again, in quotations, thuggish, and it's like this sort of a bad connotation towards it, which again, it's just because of their parents' upbringing, then it sort of influences down the line type of thing. And it's a shame, it really is. And I guess it's something that needs to be addressed a lot more. It needs to be something that's, and again, coming towards, I guess, the sort of addressing part of it. Do you think that the university could do more in terms of?
Yes.
There you go. Well, that's a quick answer. Sorted. Done. No, but obviously, like, looking at it in terms of what can the university do? Can they address issues like this, where it's around activism and where it is around Black Lives Matter? Do you reckon that there's more of a voice that should be put out there? Because I know that they've put out some articles around Black History Month and around Black Lives Matter for when it was all starting out. But is there something that we should take a stronger stance? Would you encourage your students to be take more of an activist stance? Because I know that students historically haven't had that much engagement with, or at least it hasn't perhaps been given them the platform. So I guess off to you guys. What do you think?
Do you want to go first then? No. Okay, I think it automatically, when you asked me that question, the first question that popped into my head was, what does the university do? Like, they've put up 3 celebrating Black History Month banners, and it's like, oh, done and dusted.
They're selling books in the
okay, but no, we used to do ACS suggested those books. So. But I think that, to be honest, that was a good thing that actually surprised me, that they did reach out to like the ACS committee and literally like said to them, oh, give us some book suggestions, and they put it at the front of Black Bells. But even with that, I nearly walked past it because I didn't see that it wasn't clear enough that it was the Black History Month books. But obviously that is one thing that they're doing, but they could be doing a lot more. What we mentioned earlier about putting out there, educating people about language, having input from those people who are Black. And literally, I think that's the best thing to do, because I'm not gonna lie, from my experience, if you are coming to me as someone Caucasian and you're saying, hi, I'm here to talk to you about like Black history, and I'm like, okay, but how are you telling me? Like, I'm almost automatically gonna shut off. I'd rather hear it from someone who's experienced it themselves, because it's like, that's not your viewpoint, you're just quoting someone what other people have said, and it's like, I'd rather hear it from that person's viewpoint. But I think it also comes back to Black History Month itself. That's when a lot of like people, like for example the uni, a lot of big companies just sort of use it as an excuse to push their brands out a bit more. But for us, we're Black 12 months of the year. Yeah, it's not just like 1 month at the end of the month we automatically turn a different skin color. Like, so it's like, for me, I wouldn't say that Black History Month isn't significant, because I feel like people appreciate Black history more, and they can almost learn at least one new thing from Black History Month, from the stuff that is put out, for example, in schools, in unis, posters. Like, you can walk up, for example, the TV that uni has around like the campuses. If they just put stuff on there, just quick facts, like, I remember in my 6th form, we had this like broadcast, and it was during Black History Month, and we did it was a whole list of Black inventors and what they invented, like stuff that we use on the daily, doorknobs, door stops, invented by Black people. First hair comb, first Black millionaire, first Black woman in America as a millionaire was a Black woman. That didn't make sense. Whoa, let's cut that bit out. The first woman to become a millionaire in America was a Black woman. So it's like stuff that we don't hear about that's also played down, but that's something so big. And just makes me feel even more proud to be Black. But yeah, so like I was saying, like, I'm Black, we're Black 12 months of the year, like every single day. So even though Black History Month, I think it's almost more for those who aren't Black. Like for us, for me in particular, it feels like my race is being appreciated.
Yeah.
But I feel like it can be used to educate others as well, because I feel like that's maybe the 1 month that they're actually going to listen, and the 1 month that a lot of things could be done.
I guess, well, that comes down to ultimately what does Black History Month mean to you guys then? Because obviously you mentioned that it's not just 1 month that you are black, coincidentally. It is something that is year round, so it's something that has to be sort of promoted. So obviously one of the things that I'm trying to do to support the black community is to have something more of signposting as to like these areas that are black run businesses, and you know, having more cultural food on site and have that more inclusive environment. But yeah, it comes down to ultimately what can the university do and what can the union do, because obviously the capacity of the union is a lot less when you compare it to what the university can do, and it's, I guess, if they can be loud, we can also be loud, or if we're being loud, that they can support that loudness. And it's just around that really. I'm conscious of time and everything, but I just want to sort of end it there on a last note, just saying that obviously thank you guys for joining me, and thank you to Anna who came along through briefly, but very much appreciate it, even if it was only one person that came along. No, but it's still very much appreciated, and obviously we've covered quite a lot there. I'd say we even spiraled off into different discussions, but it opens it up so that, and that's, you know, there's so, again, 30 minutes probably doesn't even account for how much time we should actually be having around these, and that's what I'm saying, that hopefully that this isn't the last type of thing that we do around this, like with podcasts. Maybe it is a bit more public, maybe it stands out a bit more, and I've enjoyed it, I've enjoyed listening. It's been informative for me, because there's always points to learn from. Like no one's, even within the black community, there's always people that still need to be educated within this. So yeah, I can't thank you guys enough, and hopefully we'll see everyone else in the next one.
Thank you.